This is a perfect time to do a housing market update here in the Greater Lafayette area. And the data set that we are looking at is sales for the month of June, because we're doing a backwards look. So through the end of June is the data that we are looking for. And I tell you what, I was surprised. And you'll see as we go through this report, I'll explain why I was surprised. But just anecdotally, out there working with clients, buying houses and selling houses, seeing what's going on in the market, trying to get pricing right for people that we're helping to sell, trying to get the lowest price possible for people that are trying to buy. I really thought that narratively the market was maybe saying one thing, but digging into the data, getting ready for this tonight showed me that the data actually shows something completely different. And I thought maybe the market was going a little, negative's not the right word, but perhaps in a not positive direction. Of course, nothing is black and white, and there's a lot of data points to consider, and we're looking at a moment in time. But that is not what the numbers show. So let's get into this housing market update for the Greater Lafayette area, July 2026. First off, we're going to look at inventory. This is the average number of homes available on any given day, on every given day throughout the month. And in June, it was 345. And this is one of the data points that I was getting mildly worried about. I thought that it was rising a little too much to be healthy. But if we look at the line, we can see that the line ends over here at 345, but it's not the highest that it has been. We bumped up against 400, 395 back in October, about 9 months ago, 10 months ago. Yes, the housing market is seasonal. You're going to hear me say that over and over again throughout this report, but it is not high as it has been, and it is not rising super fast. We don't have a square wave going on here. We have a slow rise in the inventory. And historically, the number for a balanced market has been said to be about 300 homes for sale at any given time here in the Greater Lafayette area. I really do need to sit down and do this math and talk with some statisticians to nail down what the current number is. But I think based on the current population, the number of people here in the Greater Lafayette area, the current housing inventory, the current total number of houses that exist, much less the ones that are coming online in the next 12 to 24 months, I think that number is 400 plus, and how plus of 400, I'm not sure. But it is not 300 anymore, so this number of 345, absolute worst case scenario, still leaves us 50 homes below the balanced market level. So yes, the inventory is going up. We have more homes for sale at any given time. But why is that? Stick with me and we're gonna find out why that is. But all right, doing this. Is it that there are so many more people that want to sell their home? Do we have a glut of inventory? The answer to that is no. We don't have a glut. We don't have this giant spike. In June, we had 249 new listings come to the market here in Tippecanoe County. Just about flat from May, which was 255, and April, which was 247. We've been holding fairly steady month over month. And if we look year over year, we're up about 12%. June of last year, we had 203 listings come to market. So we had 12% more homes come to market this year than we did last year. So yes, more. And not a single percentage more, but 12%, not 20% and 30%. I think that is more representative of people who are finally getting over their rate lock-in fears and they are ready to sell and move on to their next home for whatever reason that might be. They have outgrown their home. They have gotten a new job. They need to downsize. They want to retire. Maybe you're buying your first home. I think that the increase of homes going on the market is people who currently own finally letting go of that chokehold of that historically great rate that they've been hanging on to, and acknowledging the fact that rates are what they are right now, and they're not going back down to percent. That's not happening now. Will it ever happen again? Maybe, but not soon. Total number of sales. This is the one that kind of surprised me. I kind of thought that this number might be lower than it was and trending differently than it was, just based on my anecdotal experience. And this is I'm somebody who's out in the market every day, working with sellers, working with buyers, in and out of houses all day, seeing the market. And if I can get tripped up in my own head with my own story that I'm putting together for myself, that I'm out there seeing, and then I come in and see the data, and it turns out that I don't have it quite right when I'm just out there versus what the data says, what chance does somebody who doesn't have the data look like? And this is why I remind myself to check this data all of the time, and why I bring this data to you on a regular basis. Closed sales is the total number of sales in June of 2026, 220. And so the number alone is not what we're talking about. It is the context. So 13% more than last year, where we had 109 on a percentage basis. That's a pretty healthy increase. And month over month, about that same increase, or 11%. We can really just look at this graph, and by no means square wave. We're not going straight vertically up, but on the scale of this graph, and every one of these bars is 20. That's pretty healthy. We're moving up at a pretty good clip. Now, seasonality. We're talking about June. We're talking about we're at the peak. We're at the seasonal peak that we would expect to see. It would not surprise me if July winds up somewhere close to what June is, within a few percentage points one way or another. But you know what? I could be surprised, and that number could be going up. But where I'm at with this is I kind of thought that maybe the same amount of homes were coming to market, but we weren't selling as many. But that's not the case. When you dig into the data, we're actually selling more than last month. We are selling more than last year. And if we look at the expected range, and this is what the statistics tell us, the expected range was that we should be down here, more in the 160s mark. So we're still outperforming what the calculations tell us that we should be performing. And then next, new pending contracts. Pending contract is, hey, I want to buy your house. Okay, great. Wrong screen. It's this one. There we go. I want to buy your house. Great. Here's an offer. Yep, we accept the offer. Now we got to work through all of the stuff, the inspections and finance approval and all of that fun stuff. 171, down 8% year over year, down 24% month over month. That's an inverse number of total sales. We had less accepted contracts in the month than total. Actual closed sales went up while new sales went down. On a percentage basis, 24% is a pretty chunky number, but we went from 221. Scary? No, not by itself. We're still living in range, and if you look at the pink channel that's running here, this is the statistician's expected ranges, and you can see that really we're just kissing the expectations. We've been outperforming, and now this is just coming back down. Now, could this be a turn? Yeah, sure, absolutely could be. We'll know more next month and next year, but I think that it's more likely just the fact that people were out doing all the summer stuff in June. They were out on vacation, and the closed sales happened because they had started in May and then closed in June. Then in June, you don't get a lot of new pending contract. You don't get as many pending contracts this year because I think more people were out doing more things and getting away from home is my anecdotal answer to that. That at least holds true for my family and a lot of families in our friend group. I don't know if it's true for everybody, but about median days on market, this is the middle of the number of all the homes that were sold listing to pending. So if you sold 100 homes, this would be number 50. It really climbed over the winter, over late last year into early this year, into a much healthier range. We had been down last year at 11, and it peaked in January at 45, so almost about 6.5 weeks. And then it fell back down to where it has been the last few years to 12, and then in March to 9. And this last month, we're sitting at 16. So 2 weeks and 2 days. I think this is just a sign of the seasonality. I don't think this number tells us anything other than the market is just chugging along, doing what it's doing. This is the data set for all of Tippecanoe County. So if we drill down, we would see much quicker numbers for West Lafayette, for homes in the West Lafayette School Corporation. We'd see down into the single digits easily. And I think that we're going to see it grow throughout the winter. This is normal seasonality. There is nothing negative or positive here. I guess it's positive from the perspective of this is what we expect the market to do. The market's doing exactly what we expect it to do. And we're even performing the statisticians' expected ranges right now. Next up, but before we hit that next up, if any of this interests you and you want to know more, you want to sell your home and you want to understand like how your home fits into all of these numbers, go to thelafayette.com/YouTube, fill out that form, and I will delve into the numbers for your home. Not everybody's home, your home. All right. We will quickly look at months of inventory. Not one that I find fascinating, but it exists. If we didn't get any more homes on the market, how long would it take to sell our current inventory at our current sales numbers? And that answer is 2 months, 2.2 months. We're up 13% over last year when that number was, show me, less. How about that? We're slightly up. We're up 5% month over month, 13% year over year. But what we should have historically has been somewhere around 3 to 5 months of inventory. So 2 months is certainly healthier than 1, but still lower than the ideal total inventory. But it is certainly starting to loosen up. The last 2 numbers that we're going to look at are definitely deal with price. And I get this a lot still, that somebody thinks that homes are overpriced. Pick your category, pick your reason. Starter homes, lake homes, move-up homes, whatever you might be, somebody's got some argument for why it's overpriced. And I disagree, because the market sets the price. Whatever the market is willing to pay is what houses sell for. And I know that might sound like a glib oversimplification, but that just is the honest truth. Median sales price across all of Tippecanoe County, $325,000 this last year. This is, if we sold 100 homes, this would be house number 50. What did it sell for? And you'll see that we are actually down 2% year over year. That's a really small amount when we're talking about the number of homes that we're talking about. When we're talking about 100, 150, 200 homes that sell sort of thing. We're not talking about tons and tons of homes, even if you get up to 100. So the difference between what the median one year and another can easily shift $5, $10, even $20,000, especially once you start pulling that number up into the higher 3s and into the low 4s sort of things. So that down 2% is basically means that prices are exactly the same as they were last year. If people weren't willing to pay the prices that houses were listed at, then this number would be going down, and it's not. Yes, there's a downward trend that begins in July and goes through November. But you can put it in the chat, put it in the comments. What is that attributable to? Come on, you know what it is. It's the cold. It's the seasons. It ramps right back up. This is just an artifact of how many homes are in the market and what season it currently is. And then the last number, sale price as percent of list price. This is, did you get the price that you listed it for? You ready for this? Last year, 97.5%. Darn near 100%. And that 2.5% is attributable to things like closing concessions, sellers concessions, that that sort of thing. It has a lot to do with FHA and VA loans and some down payment assistance and repairs and just all those sorts of things. I normally tell people to think about this kind of number in brackets of 3%. We would expect to see 97% and 94%. So across the entire data range, we're seeing 97.5% sale price as percent of list price. Now, are homes getting price adjustments? That this number isn't showing us that. This number, let's say you listed your home for $300,000 and somebody came along and made an offer for $293,500, 3.5% off. That would show. Now, if you listed your house at $300,000 and didn't get any showings, and then you took $10,000 off and made it $290,000, and then you got a full price offer at that $290,000, that's your list price, and that would not show here. This chart does not show price adjustments. This chart shows, are you getting what the current house is currently listed for? But that means that eventually the price is listed correctly 97.5% of the time. I always love it. What's wrong with when a house doesn't sell? What's wrong? Most of the time, there's 4 or 5 things wrong with it when it doesn't sell. Price and price. Now, once you get past that, maybe there's just like really something else, but at the end of the day, that something else comes down to price. I just can't beat up enough on that it's all about the price. Show me the money. That's where it's at. So once you get your house to the correct price, houses are selling for 97.5% of asking price, which is to say that houses in general in the Greater Lafayette area are not overpriced. So to wrap this market report up, the market's healthy. It's showing the normal signs of seasonality. We are seeing strong price performance. We are seeing houses move at a pretty good clip. We are seeing closed sales really go up. We are seeing new listings hold steady, and we're seeing our inventory grow at what looks like a healthy pace. It just really, in so many ways, doesn't get better than that because the market's not on fire and just growing at an unhealthy pace, but nor is it retreating back into doldrums. It seems to just be doing what it is supposed to be doing and acting in healthy ways here in the Greater Lafayette area. So if you'd like to talk to me in more detail about any of those numbers, or if you would like to buy or sell your current home here in the Greater Lafayette area, I'm Geoff Gooch with the Russell team, powered by App Properties. I'd love to be your local Lafayette real estate resource of choice for any of that. Go to the LafayetteReal.com/YouTube, fill out that form, and I'll be in touch to help you through all of these numbers to help you get out your house on the market, get it sold, and then get you into your next home.